at the players. And then because he already withdrew from the RBC Heritage, I'm not going to rail against him specifically. I'm railing against me. There may be something going on with him that I don't know, and that's fine. But I am an idiot. And I literally was so mad at myself on Easter Sunday. Like, Friday, I knew for the most part I was going to lose. I was okay with it on Friday. And then Saturday, obviously, a lot of the golf was canceled. So then Sunday rolls around. We went to church super early, 7 a.m., because we're crazy. And then get home, and I'm like, all right, let's watch the Masters. And then all of a sudden, my just anger started welling up within me. It started boiling.
Oh, no.
So then Brian's like, well, I don't know why you didn't listen to the people that you got advice from on your show. And I'm like, well, and he's like, I would have picked Spieth. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me that? So now I'm starting to like pick a fight with Brian. Then we get to my parents' house on Easter. My mom's like, Happy Easter. Why'd you pick Rory? I don't know why. And I'm like, oh, now I just literally am like, I am just so upset with myself. So from now on, I'm not picking a golfer. Y'all are picking golfers for me, and let's move right
That's
on.
kind of like when we wouldn't let Taylor Dahl pick
That's
pick
correct.
impact players. Like we've
That is-
done,
yeah,
we've done
right.
that. And
We've learned.
What did the Jaguars do after we
Won.
we put that ban on? Yeah.
They won every game other than the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
So, yes, we've learned a lesson.
That's the
I'm out.
secret.
You guys are in. And thank you very much. Mia, did you enjoy the Masters coverage?
I did. Honestly, I was pretty upset when Saturday, which was inevitable given the conditions,
Yep.
when play was suspended. I kind of looked around and I was like, well, what do we do now? Because
Right.
it was just as the rain was arriving here. And so
Mhm.
I'm like, you can't go outside. Like, the hockey doesn't start till 8. There's baseball, but other than that, like, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And so it was interesting to hear that the ratings were as high as they were.
Did you start drinking, by the way?
Officially on Sunday, because I obviously couldn't
Yeah,
drink
okay.
yet. Yeah, I
So
unfortunately.
Saturday was the last time you couldn't just be like,
Ugh.
all right, I'll start drinking.
I probably could have, but I was just like, well, like at this point, like I was like, we're staying inside. We actually started Yellowstone, so that
Oh,
was
that
what
was
we did
smart.
instead.
Okay.
So it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but yeah, I didn't start drinking again until Sunday, just because of my tonsillectomy, not because I gave it up for Lent. To give up candy for Lent, though, and it did a pretty good job outside of chocolate. Chocolate I did allow because our boss Steve Griffin is always giving me chocolate, and so I was like, out of being like cordial and just like a good employee.
Chocolate's not candy. I
Yeah,
agree with that.
separate.
Sweets,
Yeah.
chocolate falls into the sweets category,
But
that's
no,
not candy.
to your point though, I was like pleasantly surprised. I mean, John Rahm's obviously a huge name. The Live versus PGA Tour storyline is obviously huge. But JJ, I mean, were you surprised to hear the ratings were as high as they were this weekend? I mean, they're saying like
No.
statistically one of the highest rated Masters.
No.
No?
Why are you?
I mean, just because it wasn't Tiger, quite frankly.
Okay.
Yeah, quite frankly. I mean,
I think it was the Live versus
too.
PGA Tour.
yeah, which is a good thing for the sport of golf. Like, whether you agree with the Live PGA storyline or not, I mean, clicks and views are a good thing for this sport that is trying to grow and is trying to get younger because they don't have a de facto Tiger right now. So,
Yeah, I think also, I mean, I don't know how many people tuned in for this, but JJ, I would say Phil Mickelson making a little bit of a run on Sunday, such a household name, even though he's a Live guy. I like I said, I don't know that people necessarily tuned in for that, but if you were curious about the Masters at all, you were going to watch Phil Mickelson on Sunday.
Phil's still the most popular golfer outside of Tiger. I mean, that's a fact. But I think that people probably were just at home. It was a holiday. There's not a lot to do. Everybody's watching. You're with your dad. When you're with your dad watches
golf's
golf.
on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
actually, it was really
takes
nice.
a nap.
It was kind of like
Oh, yeah.
Thanksgiving, but on Easter, where like
was.
everyone hung out together and watched golf.
Well, and that's what it was funny because I was over at my brother's in-laws' house, and that family, like, they're college football fans, but not much beyond that. Like, they're not diehard sports fans like I am. And they had golf on, and so we were kind of all just watching a little bit. And I'm texting Mia back and forth about Hovland.
Yeah, because
anyways.
we literally woke up and I was like, oh my God, Victor
You're like, you're a
Hovland.
little late on your players pick, and I'm like, dang it. But I also I texted and I was like, I'm just gonna need Koepka to fall apart real quick, and he started like trending backwards a little. I was like, yes.
On cue.
But we're sitting there, and even that, so Phil Mickelson gets up, like they show him on one of his putts he was making, and like everyone in the room was like, oh, Phil, he's still playing? And I was like, how old do you think he is? And they're like, 70? I was like, no, no, he's not.
Oh my gosh.
But that's what, it's just like they don't follow. So to them, like
Sure.
the time frame of things, it's just like they feel like they've been watching him forever, and that's what it is.
Well, and that part is true. I mean, 52 when he's been as famous as he's been for a
For
long
that
time.
period of time, yeah. So, and I think it was a combination of like you're still seeing names like that. You've got a bunch of new names also though in the top of the leaderboard that were competing for a lot of Sunday, and then you have the live PGA thing happening, and then like JJ said, it's a holiday where you're already sitting around with family, and you're not going to put on a movie for everyone to just sit and pay attention to. So golf's kind of a nice little thing to have on, and you're watching it.
Well, and I think when it comes to the majors, the Masters, because it's at Augusta every year, just has its own prestige. And that golf course, I mean, granted, we didn't get the best weather, obviously, for it, but it's still the golf course shines. And it was, though, strange watching, just like last year's players, watching the gallery in jackets and beanies, and obviously rain jackets and umbrellas for a lot of it, too. And it's just that weird, it's a weird juxtaposition because you've got the azaleas blooming and then you've got golfers in long sleeves, and it's like, this is not how it's supposed to be. But certainly we know that the weather can change things. So obviously I lost the Loser Monday bet. It was the first time I had lost in a while because thankfully for me, Gibby has been losing a lot, which that saved me from having to be the biggest loser last year. But I will say, so I had to go pick up the food yesterday, and I didn't have any cash. And so on Sunday, my mom always does an Easter egg hunt for the kids. And then this year she did an Easter egg hunt for teenagers. And then she also did an Easter egg hunt for adults. She always does the adults one, yes. Well, I found the golden egg, and there was $10 in that bad boy. And I was like, and that's my tip for the food, because I always like to leave cash. And if I had not found the golden egg, Taylor, it would have been even worse for me.
Then you would have to had to have them like add a drink, so then you could tip onto the drink. Just
correct. Yes, and it's like, no, I want to tip in cash. But either way, how was Easter for y'all, Mia?
Good. Kind of low key, which was very nice. Since obviously still recovering from the surgery, as much as obviously very happy to be back at work in a full-time capacity and be able to talk. It's obviously huge, but at the same time, I
think being able to talk is better than being at work in a full-time capacity.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they go hand in hand with this job. So, but no, I actually, like I said to myself, I was like, you know what? It's okay if it's a low-key Easter, because as we will talk about later in tonight's program, I am hosting a bachelorette for my friend who is in Iowa, of course. Drink, everyone. Donna Murphy, if you're listening, there you go.
Which is aggressive 3 weeks after tonsillectomy?
Yeah, a little aggressive. Yeah, ittle be 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, because last week last week was the 2 week mark. So yeah, 3 weeks exactly. Yeah, so it's a little aggressive, But yep, so gonna be hosting a bachelorette for one of my buddies who is getting married this summer. I'll be in that wedding, and so a bunch of her and her Iowa friends are coming, and so I got an Airbnb in St. Augustine this weekend. So I know that I'm gonna be working my tonsillectomy, post tonsillectomy throat, and drinking and eating and enjoying life. And so that and then the NFL draft at the end of the month and some travels in between all that. And so I said to myself, you know what? It's okay. Don't need to get too crazy. Take it chill, easy, because it's a marathon, not a sprint. Yeah. So did get the break in the new golf club. Shout out to the boys over at Edwin Watts. Was able to break those in on Friday. So that was very nice.
JJ, how about your Easter?
It was great. I didn't really do a lot and watched a lot of golf. I had to put the phone away in church. But luckily, my mom's church has like a countdown clock. Like, this is when we're starting. And it's down to the second. So I'm like, I got 20 more minutes. Because, like, they were still
20
ending.
Minutes?
Yeah, we got there early.
Oh, wow.
My mom loves to socialize.
Okay, I gotcha.
And, we met Grandma there. And
when I get to church on the clock, it has like a minute 30.
We used to be like that. When we were kids growing up, we were always late to church. We had to sit in the back constantly. But they're changing. Now that the kids are out, they're changing. So, yeah, it was great. They didn't finish the third round until Sunday morning.
Right.
And it was, like, really important. Like, Brooks and Rom were neck and neck. So I woke up early, and most of my friends did as well, and had to sneak the phone into church.
That's fine. I mean, I see people in church all the time.
Jesus was watching the Masters as well.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed.
I see people all the time taking pictures with their phones in church.
Oh my gosh.
Because they're, I guess, putting on social media that they're at church, which I got the notification.
Got to get that credit in.
Picture didn't happen.
Correct. Yeah, if you don't say picture, didn't happen. I got the notification. Like I said, we went to 7 a.m. service, and I got the notification in the service that Tiger had withdrawn, and it took all I had not to like show Brian. Like, look at what just happened. I'm like, okay, Lauren, we can wait till church is over. Tiger was not in contention.
Yeah, the video of Tiger was rough.
Yeah,
I
it was
know.
rough.
To see.
JJ,
That was sad.
I realized we didn't even get to ask you on primetime. Did you introduce Blake to anybody as your fiance,
Of
not
course.
just as your girlfriend? So you got to introduce her for the first time because they
Well, I
haven't met
didn't
anyone new.
introduce her to anyone.
So you didn't actually get to say the
No,
hi.
I didn't. I like everyone that I already knew everybody that.
You didn't get to do the hello. This is my fiance.
No, I didn't.
So you still, after 2 months of being engaged, you still haven't had that seminal
I don't
moment.
think I have actually.
I think we need to correct this.
We need to find some
Just
new friends.
find a random person.
You 1010 listeners out there,
Have you met
get on
JJ?
the text line. Have you met JJ yet? Because
we should
you'd
all
love
go
to meet
out
Blake.
to a restaurant or a bar one night.
Actually-
and then we can accomplish this.
We're going to be live draft week for Helmets and Heels.
That's right.
We
I
are.
was going to mention that. So not next week, but the week after, April 25th, that Tuesday, we will be at Mr. Chubby's. But the problem is, Mia, JJ will be here.
That's true.
I'll just send her.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll introduce
Go
her
shove
as
it
your
up.
Go shove it up. That's right. Yeah. All right. Well, that will be a lot of fun. So come hang out with us at Mr. Chubby's Tuesday, April 25th, pre-draft party going on. We will unveil tonight's music theme and a whole lot more when we come back. You're listening to Helmets and Heels, driven by Tire Outlet on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
What's 1010XL's starting lineup?
The starting lineup.
Hicken and Prosser in the morning. Dempsey and Fat Tony with the Jazz. Josie, Matt, Mia, and Leon midday. Frangie, Brooks, and Carline afternoon. And Baloo and Hacker in the evening. Live and local all day. 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Did you hear what's happening? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are spring cleaning. New inventory on the ground means the old has to go. Take advantage of the lowest prices of the new year by saving thousands on thousands of vehicles priced to sell. New and pre-owned prices have been reduced, and all sales associates have been instructed to give maximum value on all trades. But you better hurry. That's right. Best deals go first. Head to Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville to take advantage of the spring cleaning sale. We're here to wow you.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Come to Bowden Eye for all your eye care needs. Hicken here. Did you know that diabetes is a leading cause of blindness and affects up to 34 million Americans? Please don't take diabetes lightly. If you have diabetes, see your favorite Bowden Eye doc and save your vision. Bowden Eye is dedicated to the protection and preservation of the treasured gift of sight. Bowden Eye & Associates. Visit today for your personal consultation. Keeping the First Coast focused. New location now open of County Road 210 in St. Johns County.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing.
Where quality and experience count.
Northeast Florida Safety Council has been keeping Florida safe for 80 years. I'm Dominic Whitley, Environmental Health and Safety Director. What kind of safety culture have you developed at your business? Safety is a saver of lives, limb, and the bottom line. A great safety culture protects your most important investments, your employees and your business, and results in great success. Let us help you develop a successful safety culture. Visit us at nefsc.org and become an elite member today. Again, that is nefsc.org.
All year long you'll be singing our song. Stay cooler with Bueller. At the head of our class we make it happen fast. Stay cooler with Bueller. For heating and air we always play fair. We make the difference 'cause we really care. Bueller Air. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting, prepare, protect, Preserve.
Performance painting.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial. We're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Do you want or need to sell your home and you're just worried about the potential problems that are out there? Let me make you feel better. Go to ChadandSandy.com. You see, Chad and Sandy, the real estate experts who guarantee your home sold at an agreed upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. What does this mean for you? It means you can and will have a smooth home selling process. Take Ken and Monica in Cunningham Creek out in St. Johns County, who say, we were ready to retire and move to the mountains. I heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio, and what they say is true. We hired them, got multiple offers in 16 days, and sold above asking price. We can retire in style thanks to Chad and Sandy. Those are the success stories that are out there. Don't miss out. Call the agents I trust and recommend to sell my home. Chad and Sandy guarantee to sell your home or they will buy it. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to ChadandSandy.com. That's Chad, A-N-D, Sandy.com. Call today.
Your quick and easy solution for paying the lowest price on car insurance is Estrella Insurance. E to the T here and start saving the big bucks and pay less today. Call 1-800-CAR-INSURANCE and see for yourself. That's 1-800-CAR-INSURANCE or visit EstrellaInsurance.com.
Hey, Jack's Beats, is Jeff Lagerman here. Hungry for the best brisket, pulled pork, spare ribs, jalapeno poppers, banana pudding? The Bearded Pig is there for you on 3rd Street to feed your whole crew. And don't worry for the folks in town, we're still here in San Marco. The Bearded Pig, Southern Barbecue and Beer Garden.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Stilettos and sabermetrics.
Helmets and heels, driven by Tire Outlet. Brought to you by Underwood Jewelers.
On 1010XL.
The earth, the sun, the stars all aligned. 'Cause perfect didn't feel so perfect. Trying to fit a square into a circle.
I just picked rainy day songs.
Yes. Just wait for the beat to drop.
Okay.
The beat's gonna drop. JJ knows. In 3, 2, 1.
Let the rain fall down and wake my dreams. Let it wash away my sanity. 'Cause I wanna feel the thunder, I wanna scream. Let the
Rainy day songs, obviously, because our weather has been rainy. I literally thought of this theme, Taylor, earlier. But then I was like, is that lame? So I didn't send it out. And so I'm so glad you did. Because if you send it out, it's not lame. But if I send it out, it could be lame. That's just how things go. All right, who sings this? I've heard the song before, but I forget.
This
This is
would
Hillary
be,
Duff.
Yes, the one, the only Hillary Duff.
Oh, okay.
I was about to say, speaking of Disney Channel original
We did do our rankings a few weeks ago, so it's only fitting.
I don't know. She wasn't in the movies.
She was
She had
in
her own
movies.
show. No, she
way
had a
too big for that.
Cadet Kelly.
Oh, she was.
Cadet
Yes.
Kelly with Christy Carlson Romano.
I
Iconic.
apologize.
Iconic.
Yeah, she was.
Didn't ESPN tweet out the day after we had that
They
conversation?
listened to our segment.
Yeah, that was strange. That was like Truman Show-esque, where you kind of look for the cameras around. You're like, does the whole world revolve around me?
Yes, and now we do have cameras, so clearly we know the answer to that.
So now more segments are going to get stolen.
That's right. They're going to steal our ideas. All right.
Hillary Duff, by the way,
Yeah.
quickly. Sorry, Lauren.
No, go.
She looks amazing
Yeah,
right now.
she looks
and
good.
and this was she's probably 40. I don't know if she's that old actually.
She's
I think-
35.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
than
looked it
thought.
up.
Younger
years
than I
older.
thought actually.
But she has 3 kids.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, she looks great.
didn't know
Like
that.
she's always been cute/pretty, but recently, because she's on the spinoff of How I Met Your Mother, but it's
Oh, I
How I
didn't know
Met
there
Your
was
Father,
one.
and
Okay.
she's like the main girl in that, and she looks so good.
It's probably called some plastic surgery. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Good for her. Her sister, I know, is on some of the cooking shows.
Oh, is she? Oh, I forgot she had a sister.
Yeah, weren't they in some movies?
Yeah, they
too?
were.
Wasn't she in like Seventh Heaven or something? Haley Duff.
Haley Duff,
or-
yeah, she
Yeah.
was in something.
Seventh Heaven, that show.
Maybe
Well-
Oh wow, her kids
Oh
are
no,
like kinda
Jessica
old.
Simpson's sister was in
Yes.
Seventh
Yeah,
Heaven.
yeah.
of
Ashley
course.
Simpson.
Her kids are like kind of old.
I don't mean to be mean to Hillary Duff's sister Haley, but Hillary definitely looks better.
Oh damn!
I'm sorry. I'm
Well,
sorry.
yeah, that's why
I need to
she's
see.
more famous.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
I'm just
always
calling
been
it like I
that.
see it. All right, Mia, what did you think of the first episode of The Hunt that the Jaguars video production crew put out?
Well, obviously it starts with an absolute bang.
It
So
does.
funny.
I mean, listen, they went right for the jugular, and I was here for it. Fantastic. I also love.
Explain to people what you're talking about.
Yeah, they literally open up with Trent Baalke in his office, and there is a clown doll.
Yeah, I keep a clown on my desk. And it gives me motivation every day.
It's a pretty good imitation.
So
Screw these people.
Move over, Lloyd.
Great impersonation.
Move over, Lloyd from Yellowstone. My goodness. And then I think it was only made better by the fact that then we literally, the fan who sent Trent the clown doll emerged off Twitter because of course he did. Literally has the receipt from sending it via Amazon to the bank.
I do have the audio quickly. If you
Yeah,
want to
let's play that audio, JJ.
Some fan sent that to me. It was a little clown figurine, and I said, you know what? I'm going to put it there to remind myself every day, you know, why I come to work, what my purpose is, I guess. You know, it's prove them wrong.
I'm not a clown.
I was about to say, was that still JJ or was that Trent?
So I will say this much,
I love it.
like, and again, like, I'm not Trent Baalke. I was obviously very outspoken last year about not just the fact that I felt the Jaguars should part ways with Trent Baalke. I just felt Shad Khan had never actually cleared house in his 10 plus years of owning the team. And clearly, after the dysfunction that Urban Meyer brought about, clearing house wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. Obviously, Shad knows better than the rest of us because he believed in Trent. He held on to him. He has now reaped the benefits of keeping a veteran front office executive, a former front office executive of the year, mind you, installed as GM. My thing, and again, I don't hang out with Trent. I can't tell you that, but what I can tell you this is from my interactions with him, and without naming names, there were some people at the bank, both in the media and non-media, that took him aside and said, look, take the clown movement part of it out of it. There's something to be said of learning people's names, saying hello to people, and at least putting on a nice face, trying. There's something to be said for that. I know for a fact multiple conversations of that liking took place. And when I watched The Hunt last week, that was my takeaway. You are seeing a different Trent Baalke than you would have seen this year. Not only would he have not been, you know, he probably wouldn't have poked fun at himself like he does in The Hunt. I love when they're at the combine and he goes, oh, you want to see this? Oh, like, oh, did you see that? Like, that doesn't happen last year. And JJ brought up, you know, on primetime last week, the day after the episode dropped, that, you know, winning cures that. When you're winning, you can certainly, I get that. But I can just tell you from a personal standpoint, like, I mean, I say hi to Trent. Trent says hi to me. Like, he asks how my day is. That not only wasn't happening with me, even before my commentary on him, that wasn't happening with a lot of media members outside of maybe two and any sort of visitor. Part of that is obviously, you know, he was behind the eight ball. He takes over, you know, at the end of the COVID pandemic. He came into the Jaguars organization in February of 2020. He never really got to know anybody. He doesn't, as the GM, you don't have to be the extrovert that Dave Caldwell was. You don't. It's kind of like, and I always use the analogy, it's kind of like being the president of a college. Everyone thinks that that guy needs to be the one who's out there, like, shaking hands and kissing babies. Just do the job. That's the approach that Trent Baalke has. He is who he is. We're seeing the benefits on the field, and there are wins. So you can't really fault him outside of that. But it was just comforting to me that he does seem more comfortable in his own skin. And, you know, to an extent, it felt like it's an adapted Trent Baalke. And evolved. I feel like he's evolved. And so that was very encouraging for me.
Well, and I think that, number one, as JJ was saying, it does help when you're winning. If they were still winning 3-4 games last season, he may not be exactly how he is now. But I also do think it's a lot of times you're a product of your environment. And, like, obviously, very clearly, Doug Peterson's a better person than Urban Meyer. And that goes on every level you can think of. So that helps immediately. And when you have a team who is also getting along and in the this episode of The Hunt, you see Trevor talking to Calvin Ridley at one point, and he's like, "You're gonna love everybody. Like CK's great, Zay's great, Ag's great, all of these things." And like that wasn't being said a couple years ago. Those things weren't being talked about because it wasn't that positive vibe in the locker room. So that helps also. But there was a lot of, I loved going back real quick to just the clown in the beginning because it shows just that at first. And I was like, dang, like that's kind of mean. And then you see Trent's like, oh yeah, someone sent me that and I'm using it as motivation. Good for you. Most people would have like thrown the thing in the trash that day.
Burned
it. Yeah. But he didn't. And I think that's cool. But there was a lot of little things that popped out. They talked to Roy Robertson Harrison in the one part of it, and he's talking about golfing and all of that stuff, but he also has this long conversation about how he wants to be more vocal for the defense. And I loved seeing that because we've talked a lot about like who's going to be that guy now, who's going to be the guy that they really count on for being that vocal leader. And it looks like he may be the person that's trying to be that, which I would love personally.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the defense, you've got Foye Oluokun, Roy Robertson Harris. You've got, I would say at this point, Tyson Campbell and Rayshon Jenkins in the secondary. You take those 4 leaders, and that's a really solid group of players. But yeah, Trent Baalke, I think, and Doug Peterson have a great relationship. Yeah. And I wasn't sure that things would work out just based off of how things were unfolding at one point in time for this organization when it came to Urban Meyer, Trent Baalke, and then all that clown movement, all the hatred that was there. And look, let's be honest, the hatred was a little bit pointed at Trent Baalke. They wanted him fired as general manager. But moreover, the fans were just super tired of losing. Mm-hmm. And had Urban Meyer still been here, then Urban Meyer would have gotten, I think, the brunt of the hate.
Yeah.
But instead, he had already been fired, so then it fell on Trent Baalke. And look, he hasn't had a perfect track record. No one has as general manager. But I think that was just the fans being like, we are sick.
Something has to change.
Yeah, this, picking number 1 overall. We are sick of losing the way that we have.
And things that happen. And it even came up a little bit again this offseason when things weren't being done in free agency that certain people, fans on Twitter wanted it to get done. And so it came back up a little bit here. We saw some Trent stuff, and that's going to happen because that's the easy target when you're looking at an NFL team. It's easy to be like, okay, well, here we are again. Something's going bad, so let's talk to the guy on the top.
Right. The person who selects the players is ultimately deciding how your team's going to go. The coach can only do so much with what they have to work with. Mia, 11 of the Jaguars' 15 reported top 30 visits so far have been defensive linemen. Are the Jaguars selecting a defensive lineman 24th overall?
So I'll say this much. Coach Campo noted on the program, on XL Primetime, I should say, last week, how a lot of times top 30 visits are, number 1, just to answer a couple of questions that a team may have, and number 2, can sometimes be to create a smokescreen. So while I certainly think the Jaguars are bringing in some players to, do their due diligence, say, hey, it would be really cool, i.e. Tyree Wilson, because he's not going to make it all the way to number 24. I do think that some of it is smokescreen. I do think a lot of it is they really want to comb through this edge rusher defensive line class because you're not only replacing Arden Key, DeJuan Smoot remains unsigned. They haven't brought him back into the fold, and so at this juncture, there's 2 players that you're having to replace. And
I want Smoot back, by the way.
I think they're going to be able, personally, I mean, I haven't had any intel on this, but like knowing when I talked to Smoot back in January, like he was really happy with the program that Ferg has for them. And obviously we know what James Robinson's rehab looked like for the Achilles, and Smoot plays a different position. He's been working out with the boys in Orange Park. And so, I think that, he's on his way back. I just think, Achilles injuries are tough, so he's going to be one of those last guys signed. And I think
it happened so late.
Right, and it happened in December. Shout out to freaking MetLife, which did you see they're going to change the turf finally?
Yeah.
I mean, how many players have to get injured for them to finally change it? But I digress. So no, I think that because the thing is, Lauren, is let's say they go through all these visits, they comb through all the defensive line prospects, and then they turn around and say, well, crud, we don't really like the 2nd and 3rd tier. We have to probably strike a little bit earlier at that position because maybe we do like a Darius Rush or a Jartavius Martin or a different corner that we can get in the 3rd or 4th round because we have to get one of these elite edge guys or else we're not going to get one.
Yeah. Well, and also when you're picking at that late. When you're picking 24, you're waiting on what 23 other teams are going to do. And that's maybe even more, because who is someone going to trade up? But so when you're doing that, you're evaluating this talent of like, okay, here's the guys that we can really see going in top 10. Here's the guys we can see going in the top 15. What teams need this? And from there, you really get to decipher who's going to be left. Who's going to be left at each position group once you get to each of those picks you have. So it's a whole different ballgame when you're picking that late, because there's so many. You're not only evaluating talent, you're evaluating what talent every other team wants.
And if I could make one way too early prediction, I don't know if we have a sound effect for this. I believe the Jaguars will do everything in their power, and so long as it works out, I'm 90% sure they will move back in this NFL draft if they are able to. Whether that is, I do think they're going to need a first-round pick, but let's say they move back to, I don't know, like the Steelers have 32 from the Bears, Taylor. And if the Steelers trade up for 24 and they give the Jags their next year's first-round pick, 32, and a fourth-round pick, yeah, I would do that. Yeah. Because what's the difference between 24 and 32 at that point in time?
Which I am hearing Pittsburgh wanting to trade up.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I could totally see a situation like that happening. And I think that with the Jaguars right now, the goal is to find certainly a starter potentially down the road at offensive tackle, to be that swing tackle this season and then be a starter down the line. Clearly, the third corner position is of need, and then that edge rusher position as well, depending, of course, on what sort of front their base defense will be in, because I think that that's still up for debate as well. And so it's not like, hey, we need a starting tackle, or hey, we need a quarterback. I think right now the Jaguars can afford to say we need a guy who by season's end is our starter and is the future, no question asked. But maybe they can take a little bit of time, and it's really just at those three positions, and anywhere else would be depth. And so that's why I think acquiring more second and third round picks would actually really behoove them to have more guys that are going to be plug and play guys, even if it takes a couple weeks for them to catch on.
So Mia, you mentioned Jeff Ferguson. He's the Vice President of Player Health and Performance for the Jaguars. And when I was at the Combine in Indianapolis, all the Jaguars people and us, we hung out one night, and he was like, I love helmets and heels. I love it. And I was like, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you listening.
Excellent.
And he was like, I'm going to call in sometime. And I was like, by all means, do it.
Come on down.
I was like, one time, Nathaniel Hackett, back when he was the offensive coordinator, was driving home from the stadium. He just wanted to call. He called in. We chit-chatted with him. We said, call back anytime. That same offer is extended to you, Mr. Ferguson. You feel free to call anytime and chit-chat if you so desire. Yes. All right, when we come back, we will get into a little bit more of the mock draft season, as well as Mike Duraco had a comment.
Yeah,
I
hadn't seen that until you sent it. I missed that in translation yesterday, or I guess Monday it was, that he popped on
yesterday.
Jaguars today. Yeah, a lot of folks on Twitter weren't too happy with D-Rock. I thought it was only me that they weren't happy with this week.
We'll get to that and a whole lot more. You're listening to Helmets and Heels, driven by Tire Outlet on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
What are you two doing here? Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
They're volunteers. They're here out of the kindness of their heart.
They're volunteers because no one will pay them. They are incompetent.
They are the Drill.
Yes, well, that is a little sensitive, isn't it?
Mornings on 1010XL.
Mike Duraco here for Clearwater Irrigation and Drainage. Let me tell you, I had a bad standing water issue on my front sidewalk, and John Haney and his crew came in and completely solved it. Their service division fixed my sprinkler system, too. We all know these guys' singing is terrible, but their service is excellent.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers. All right, Mike.
And drainage, too.
ClearwaterJacks.com.
It's finally arrived. Now at Hodges Mazda, the first ever Mazda CX-90, our 3-row SUV crafted to create a connection between driver, passenger, and the journey shared. Lauren Brooks here. Lease a new 2024 Mazda CX-90 today for only $552 and $3,999 due at signing. All vehicle purchases come with 2 years free maintenance, which you will love like I do. The sales staff works on salary, not commission, allowing Hodges Mazda to put your best interests first. That is the Hodges Mazda difference. Visit them online at HodgesMazda.com. See dealer for details, terms, and fees for qualified lessees. 36-month lease expires May 1st, 2023.
Did you know that all graduates of Local 234's apprenticeship program are licensed journeymen? That means all plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC techs will have hundreds of hours of experience and have passed the Jacksonville City Licensed Journeyman exam. They're the best trained and safest skilled tradespeople in the industry. Don't leave yourself exposed to inadequate workmanship or even danger. Always hire a licensed journeyman. Local 234. Make the right connection. Equal opportunity employer.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay and Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Drivers and heavy truck mechanics. If you like sports, then you're going to love working at Waste Management.
We have a team atmosphere here where we're looking out for one another. We jump in to help out.
Listen up. WM is now offering a $5,000 new hire bonus to CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics for jobs at our sites in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine.
It's camaraderie. It's everything. I like it.
Steady work, competitive pay, weekly paychecks, opportunities for overtime, paid training, and a generous boot and tool allowance.
Plus, over-the-top benefits like 100% tuition coverage for you and your family, and home every day.
CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics. Apply online at WM.com/careers. That's WM.com/careers. Search driver and mechanic jobs in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine, Florida.
A people first, military friendly, equal opportunity employer. We are WM.
Major League Baseball is back, and Perfect Rag Billiards is the place to be. Whether you're a Rays, Cub, or even Yankee, Perfect Rag Billiards has all the games live. Tons of awesome beer and food specials daily, from Smash Burger Mondays to Fireball Fridays, along with tons of pool tables, shuffleboard, darts, and more. Get on out of the house for the action and come to Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill, where you can catch all the MLB action this season. Perfect Rag Billiards in Murray Hill, a great place to watch sports.
Are you tired of having a plain and boring backyard? Really want to impress your family and friends this year? Then stop by Stone Core on Phillips Highway. Imagine hosting guests at your new outdoor kitchen, relaxing by your custom-built fireplace under a brand new pergola. Stone Core can also remodel your old pool deck and beautiful new pavers. Make your backyard wishes a reality. Visit Stone Core on Phillips Highway and let's get started at stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
It's time to get on the tee with me, Joe C. The XL Primetime Spring League is back, and you need to be part of it. Southampton invites you to join us every Wednesday now through early May for our 9 after 5. As soon as you knock off work, you can head to Southampton for a great game every week. Chef Gary cooking up something good for afterwards and prizes. Call 287-PLAY and get in the game every Wednesday. It's our 9 after 5 at Southampton. Call 287-PLAY now.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best product and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From Roll-and Lock bed covers to Lear toppers to Cam Locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. A Tuesday night tradition in Duval.
Helmets and Heels.
Driven by Tire Outlet.
Brought to you by Underwood Jewelers.
On 1010XL.
All I can say is that my life is pretty plain. I like watching the puddles gathering. And all I can do is just pour some tea for two.
This will be my selection for our rainy day songs. No Rain by, do any of you know?
I do not know who sings this, but
I
I know
figured
this
this
song.
might be too old, a little older for y'all.
Like I know the song, but I do not know.
It's certainly a 90s song. This would be Blind Melon.
Yep.
Oh,
Nope. Wouldn't
would've
have
never
gotten that one. Know the song, would not have gotten that one.
JJ, would you have known if I didn't send you the name of the artist and you had to pull it up?
It would have taken me a while. I
Okay.
would like to believe I would, but
I would've
I
liked
don't
to believe
know.
I would.
I don't know. But they're like infamous for one-hit wonder. So like I've heard the name of this band multiple times, but I don't know if I would have got it.
Yeah, certain one-hit wonders like Betty Davis Eyes by Kim Carnes, for some reason, like I always know that one.
Mhm.
But if you throw a one-hit wonder that I haven't like put on a playlist at me, I'm like, I have absolutely no idea. All right, so let's get it to Mike DeRocco's comment on Jaguars today. He said the Jaguars are not actually better now than when the season ended. They were better as a roster in the depth chart against the Chiefs in January than they are right now. Agree or disagree, Taylor?
I think I agree, and
Okay.
the reason
So you're not one of the angry people
I was
on
not one of,
Twitter.
and also if you listen to the whole thing, like he goes into a little bit
Right.
of his explanation, obviously, but I
And you
get
can
it.
find that on demand.
Yes,
I can play it right here.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Good sense in my head about what he looks like and what he's going to play like, then I would say, yeah, that they're actually not better than when the season ends. Don't get me wrong, they're still a good team, but until I see Ridley on the field and have a good sense in my head about what he looks like and what he's going to play like, then I would say, yeah, that they're actually not better than when the season ends.
And that doesn't surprise me because when he joined us the week that Frank was off on vacation, that he said that then too.
Yeah.
But I guess it must not have made social, so
It didn't
therefore
get
people didn't
viral.
get
It
so,
didn't
people
become
didn't get so
viral.
angry.
Well, and that's what. So to me, I get what he's saying because at this point, if you were to say that the Jaguars are a better team, then you're saying that number one, you're counting on the hypotheticals or the what ifs of, okay, is Calvin going to come out and be what we're expecting? And we all think he will, but we do not know. He hasn't played football in 2 years.
But he's definitely better than Marvin Jones Jr., right? In that regard?
I mean, we haven't seen him play in 2 years, and I think that's most people's thing. I think most people are like, he will be, like, but how long is it going to take to get him caught up to everything that
But
he
his
hasn't done in
videos,
2
he
weeks?
looks perfect,
I
Taylor.
know. Working out. There's a lot of people that look at Tim Tebow came up to camp, and people freaked out over that one.
But I mean, as far as like his route running and catching,
Yeah.
Tebow did not look good.
No.
Calvin Ridley looks really good.
They were like, he caught a ball and he looks like he works out.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, Lord help us. We're not in that.
And then
We're
we
not in
watched-
that was
Then we
a bad
watched him
year.
try to block in that one
Oh,
preseason
God.
game where he just kind of
He's like rolling on the
tuck and
ground.
roll.
Oh, Lord.
Poor,
Okay.
poor
But-
Tebow gets like all the bad stuff talked about him on Sports Talk Radio. He's a great human being, does wonderful things. It's just he didn't make it as a tight end here,
Yeah.
and Jaguars Nation for the most part didn't want him to be their quarterback way back when, other than the Gator fans.
So
All
that
right.
carried on. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's more of that. But also when you're looking at it, the free agency, not much happened other than you losing Jawan Taylor and Arden Key, which are Arden Key, and we're still waiting on the Smoot thing. We don't know about that. So if you don't have Smoot and you don't have Arden Key,
How else
that's-
would we build the city, though, Taylor?
I know. Without Arden, I'm not quite sure. He has the key to the city, I guess. But he is. Those two are. We're big rotational pieces in that and what the defense does. So you're expecting Trayvon Walker and you're expecting Devin Lloyd to make big steps. You're expecting Calvin Ridley to make a huge impact on this offense. You're expecting Evan Ingram to be able to play off what he did last season. You're expecting Trevor Lawrence to take another step up. But those are all expectations that we're not quite sure how far it's going to reach. So when you're looking at just on paper, yes, you've added Calvin, but then you've also lost 2, potentially 3 of the players that you were counting on in certain situations last season. So I think that was his main point of like, he doesn't think this team is going to be worse, but when you're just looking at the here and now, we haven't even made it to the draft yet. You can't say that you think, well, I guess you can because people have their arguments about it, but in his eyes, and also I agree, you can't look at it and say like, yes, this team is better than what they were there because they were also on this roll. They had a ton of momentum. They were beating. Things weren't great. They weren't going just perfectly for them, but they were making comebacks. Things were happening. So I think there's just a lot of question marks of how big of steps certain players are going to take and how much of an impact the players you did lose, and Jawan and Arden and possibly Smoot, are going to play on this team.
So, first and foremost, for those of you that replied to that audio of Mike DeRocco on Jaguars today, and for those of you on the text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures who insist this dude never has a positive attitude about the Jags. You know that meme where it says, like, I've been hurt before, and then the other one about, God gives his strongest battles to his soldier, and it's Jesus, and then it's and he goes, I literally thought you were dead already. D-Rock has been covering a team where they have fooled us how many times, historically speaking, in the past decade plus. And also, D-Rock is the nicest human being in the world. So let's also begin with that.
Also, he's not a fan.
Yeah,
right.
Like, with all these Twitter people and listeners, they're like, why isn't he 100% always in on the Jags? It's like, because that's not his job,
I
man.
will tell you this, though. So, 2018, my first year here in Jacksonville, I will never forget after that loss to the Texans. Remember when Deshaun Watson had to take a bus here because he had a punctured lung and he couldn't get on the plane?
And we lost.
Yes, and the Jags lost. D-Rock came up to myself and several others in the press box and said they are not winning another game this year. They won 2 more games, but still, the point is they didn't win a lot.
He
that
wasn't
year.
far off from
Right.
that situation.
Right. So this past year,
That was like
after-
Lauren. You did that in 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
the Jags,
Yeah.
after the Jaguars lost to
the Dolphins.
I want to say it was the Lions. I said
Yeah.
this team won't win another game this season, and they did not.
Right. So, in contrast to that,
Right.
D-Rock and Mark Long, our buddy from the AP, came up to me after the Chargers game. We're talking in the coffee break room at the stadium, and they both go, I think they're going to beat the Eagles. I think they're going to win the division. And then they beat the Eagles, and then obviously things unraveled with a 5-game losing streak. And I will never forget, after the Colts game, D-Rock looking at me and saying, this team is not winning another game this year. And what happened? They went to the playoffs and won the AFC South. So I say all that to say that, listen,
The
D-Rock.
Jaguars didn't beat the Eagles, though.
No, they didn't, and it was part of a
okay.
5-game losing streak.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
But obviously, they at that point were 2-1, and everyone went, "Oh my God!" They went out to LA and they beat the Chargers. This team is for real. I will say this: D-Rock is being cautiously optimistic about this team, and the reason he has reservations is because we can't deny the fact that did this team play at its ceiling last year? We saw a team in 2017 that played at its ceiling, that got all the right bounces. Is that all this year was? I don't believe so, because the difference between 2017 and 2023 is you have a quarterback and you have a proven Super Bowl winning head coach.
And you had no pass rush not none, but you had very little
Minimal.
pass rush this past season, and that was one statistic that the Jaguars from 2017 could not repeat. There was no chance they were going to get, I think it was like 55 sacks, something along those lines.
Correct. Moreover, the Eagles had 35 sacks a year ago.
Right.
They had 70 this past year. And obviously, they banked that on development, and they banked that on some of these veteran players they had signed taking the next step and getting those bounces and getting to the quarterback. And I think that this Jags team inside the building, regardless of what you all are saying on Twitter or on the text line, they believe that with good coaching, this team can take the next step. They do believe that they have the people in the building right now, and they obviously need some more pieces. They know, I think it's safe to say, as much as, yes, they want to win the Super Bowl every year, I think this is a multi-year rebuild. I don't think it's hey, this the window's now. We got to win this year. I don't think they're in win now mode, but the window is opening. And I do think that there is a notion of it's okay if we're not perfect because we have the staff and the right culture that we can get the best out of our players each and every year. And you may think that's naive. You may think that maybe you need to be a bit more conservative, like D-Rock is suggesting. Do I think that they're worse than they were? On paper, they have less guys on the roster that have played and started in NFL games. Yeah, statistically speaking, sure, they are worse. I am in the camp that I think Walker Little may be an improvement over Jawan Taylor or Cam Robinson, depending where he starts and depending if they draft an offensive tackle, for what that's worth. I think that could be an improvement. I think an additional year in Phil Rauscher's system will be great for that entire offensive line. They could take a step forward after being middle of the pack this past season. I'm curious to see what Trayvon Walker looks like. I'm curious to see what Devin Lloyd looks like. And for all we know, maybe this notion of they're betting on coaching proves faulty ground. And they don't have the staff and they don't have the players and they're not in the right position. But at least at this juncture, who are we to question them? Because they did what they did with less, let's be real here, than what every other team in the playoffs had. I don't think you can dismiss that. If you look at the Jaguars...
I would say the Giants, maybe.
The Giants, yes, the Giants being the exception. I think if you look at the Jaguars roster from a year ago and you look at the roster of all those other teams that made the playoffs, in terms of we should be here because we have an elite roster, the Jags are on the bottom end of that.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. They got them to the promised land, whether you want to blame that on the AFC South and the Titans collapsing, if you want to say it was luck. that's great. But I do think the coaching is headed in the right direction.
And we're not in training camp where this is the team and this is now exactly what we're going to have when the season starts. They're still potentially going to add in free agency. That's not completely over just because they didn't hit a big splash in March. And they still have the draft. So the conversation.
Well, that's what D-Rock was saying is right now.
Exactly. Right. The conversation that they were having on that show and the sentiment that he had was right now. But that can certainly change in a couple weeks after the draft.
3 weeks.
Right. And if they do end up signing a veteran pass rusher in free agency, whether before or after the draft, now it seems almost like after the draft, like the conversation wasn't finalized to this point on April 11th. When we have this conversation on May 11th, then then certainly we will have a much better idea. They, I guess, could still add someone after that, but most likely that'll be the team at that point in time. All right, when we come back, I want to get to NFL quarterbacks. We also have our Sweet Shots brought to you by the Black Sheep Group. You're listening to Helmets and Heels, driven by Tire Outlet on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Two receivers right, one to the left. Crowd getting involved.
Stay close to the Jaguars.
Fires into the end zone.
On the home of the Jaguars.
Touchdown, Jacksonville!
1010XL.
Nimnik has what you want. Popular GMC Yukon and Yukon XL models are arriving daily at Nimnik Buick GMC, Jacksonville's #1 Buick GMC dealer. Frank Frangie here. Nimnik Buick GMC has more models on the ground than they've had in 2 years. And for a limited time, well-qualified buyers can enjoy promotional rates as low as 0.9% APR on select GMC models. Nimnik, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
Now is the perfect time to make sure your home is protected from storms by scheduling a complimentary roof inspection with Universal Roof and Contracting. Protect your biggest investment, your home. Get a free wind mitigation with your full roof replacement plus a free Platinum Protection Warranty upgrade. This offer expires April 30th and restrictions apply. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330147, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Jacksonville has some junk, and J-Dog is removing it. They're here to do the dirty work. You don't want to remove and dispose of large furniture or appliances yourself? Call J-Dog. Here now proudly serving you, removing junk from your home or business. They can even handle small demolition projects, and they're still donating local items to veterans in need. So let J-Dog do the dirty work for you. J-Dog Junk Removal, veteran-owned and operated. JDog.com.
Shinedown, the Revolutions Live Tour. Friday, April 14th, VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. With special guests, 3 Days Grace. And From Ashes to New. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Shinedown live.
Hey, Matt Hayes, temperatures are rising. When you have an AC breakdown, you need it repaired today. Fenwick Home Services is the expert cooling team you can trust to repair your system the same day or it's free. Fenwick is Jacksonville's always-ready cooling and plumbing team. Available 24/7, even nights and weekends with no emergency fees. Plus, Fenwick will keep your system covered with Florida's leading repair warranties. Call or book online at FenwickEasyBook.com.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, it's Prosser here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money and pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement project. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. So even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness. Say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or as always, you can visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Score more savings at your home team AgPro. Right now, get a John Deere Z920M starting at $11,299. Team up with us online at agproco.com to find the location nearest you. See dealer for details. Offer ends 4/30/23. Some restrictions apply.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
If you're often tired, have trouble exercising, or your heartbeat feels irregular, you might have atrial fibrillation, or AFib. Left untreated, AFib can put a strain on your heart and increase your risk of a stroke. But the new Heart Rhythm Center at Baptist Health can help. With the latest treatment options for heart disorders like AFib, our team of specialists can get you feeling stronger again. Learn more at baptistjacks.com/AFib or call 904-202-2342.
Mike Dempsey for Tire Outlet. Ride in style with a brand new set of tires from my friends at Tire Outlet. We offer the best selection, best quality, and best prices so you can find the best tires for your vehicle. With over 40 years of experience at 15 locations across Florida, Tire Outlet is the brand you can trust with your vehicle's tires and much more. Hurry in for great deals on tires with our legendary price match guarantee. Our expert technicians are ready to do the maintenance and repairs to keep your vehicle performing its best. Tire Outlet, wholesale prices, premium service.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
These heels are made for talking.
Helmets and heels.
Driven by Tire Outlet.
Brought to you by Underwood Jewelers.
On 1010XL.
I'll spin you around and pull you back to me. I sure am glad you wore that dress. It reminds me of the night we first met. Don't you love the evenings in July when I'm staring at you with my blue eyes? We could be fine.
Rainy Day songs in honor of the weather. Taylor, who did you select?
This is the band name is Sequoia Prep School. They're from South Carolina. It was another band. I feel like I've been playing a lot of high school bands, but this is another band that I listened to a lot in high school. But the song is called About Rain, but it's talking about, like, the first words were like, I hope you like dancing in the rain. So I've always just loved that.
Yeah, I do like that. By the way, Mia, I was so taken aback that you chose Hillary Duff because I predicted incorrectly. You would pick Luke Combs When It Rains, It Pours.
Ooh, I didn't even
so that's
think
why
of that
I
one.
didn't pick that song. I went in a different direction.
No, I was thinking a little, I want to know, have you ever seen the rain?
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
There's a lot of
Creedence
good
Clearwater,
rain ones.
But
certainly.
I assumed someone else would pick that one, so I went, let me zig while everyone else zags.
There's also the Luke Bryan, Rain is a Good Thing.
Mm-hmm.
That one's always fun, too.
Makes
Rain
corn.
makes corn.
Rain makes
Corn
corn.
makes whiskey. Whiskey makes my baby.
a
frizz.
little bit of frizz.
That's right. The other day I was playing Rain songs, so literally we were on the same wavelength, Taylor. All right, when it comes to Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, we'll get to them in just a second and where they're going to be selected in the draft. But first, we've got our Sweet Shots brought to you by the Black Sheep Group. JJ, take it away.
Brandon Lowe goes yard in the 8th inning, leading to a Rays 1-0 win over the Red Sox to start their season 10-0.
The 3-2. Swung on. High drive. Deep to right center. That baby is gone. Home run for Brandon Lowe. And the Rays will grab the lead.
Rudy Gobert punches Kyle Anderson on Timberwolves bench during timeout versus Pelicans.
Emotions boiling over here at Target Center. A very important game, regular season finale. And we had a scuffle on the Timberwolves bench. Anderson and Rudy Gobert. That's just something you don't see every day. I know the tensions, you've played in this game, you've been in a lot of heated battles, but
I don't know that I've ever
out
seen.
there.
I've never personally been on a team where a teammate punched somebody on the bench like that. That's out of bounds.
Nico Horner with a base hit to walk it off in 10 innings against the Mariners.
Base hit. Nico rocks it up. Cubs win. Hugs. 3-2 in 10 near 5.
Remember, the Black Sheep Group has such amazing pastries brought to you by Chef Rebecca Reed. She joined us a few weeks ago If you missed that interview, it is on demand. But yes, go to the Black Sheep Group and certainly Bellwether and go get those amazing pastries.
Yeah, JJ made a comment in our ear about how she didn't pronounce Lowe right.
Robot lady
But I was like, she
pronounced
said
it, Brandon.
Gobert and Horner right, and didn't.
Yeah, it's because Lowe look Lowe. There are 2 players on the Rays with the exact same spelling of the last name, Lowe.
I've never heard it Lau. I mean, I know that's his last name,
Yeah.
but I've never heard a guy with it spelled like that called
I can't
Lau.
believe she
so
got
I'll
Gobert.
forgive her. Gobert at least is like French.
Yeah.
So it, if you see it, you think it's spelled like that.
Well, that's what when I was typing in Nico Horner, I was like, I wonder how she's going to try to pronounce this name, and then she got it. I was like, good girl.
Good girl. It's a robot, but yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, those were, I think Taylor's and I's were obvious. I picked the Rays, Brandon Lau hitting that home run yesterday. The Rays beat the Red Sox 1-0 and improved to 10-0. Taylor picks Nico Horner, of course, for the Cubs. And Mia, you though went NBA.
Yeah, because
Sweet shot was a punch.
Yeah,
I think that's our first punch.
I
as
had
far
to
as
have
the
a little
sweet
fun
shot.
with it.
Was
Come
a
on now.
shot?
Yeah.
It was a shot. And I do especially love the memes on the internet today with President Biden officially ending the COVID-19 emergency in our country.
It just ended?
Yes, today. Officially,
my
the paperwork
gosh.
was signed. Actually, it was signed yesterday, which literally means we started with Rudy Gobert putting his
That's
hands where
right,
they
yeah.
shouldn't be, and we ended it with Rudy Gobert putting his hands where they shouldn't be.
That is so. What's so funny is as I was making that sound, and I'm like, man, I was like, it was almost exactly, I guess, a little over because it was like TPC week that all of that started
Yeah.
happening, where Gobert did that. But as I was making this, I was like, it was almost exactly 3 years ago that Gobert got in trouble for just touching everybody and having COVID.
It is crazy to think that it lasted, COVID-19 lasted a little over 3 years. 3 years and a month, basically, because it was like the week of March
What do you-
12th.
Just because President Biden
No,
said
it's
that
over.
COVID's over, it's not like, it lasted until today.
The
Well, that's
emergency,
true.
like
Yeah.
the
Whatever
paperwork.
he did. He did nothing. I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
But for the Rudy Gobert bit, it's funny.
Yeah, it does
For
feel
purposes
like
of the bit.
it does feel like for our actual lives, it's been over a year
Yeah.
since we really had to worry about
Especially in Florida.
It's been 3
Well,
years.
All right,
Other states may be a little different.
When it comes to the quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, Mia, you pointed out they're taking a lot of visits. How do you think the order goes? I'm in the camp that it's going to be, and I still can't really decide, but I think it's going to be Stroud to the Panthers, Young to the Texans, and then I don't know what happens after that, but I think it'll be Anthony Richardson picked third, Will Levis picked fourth, and Hendon Hooker picked fifth. I'm just not sure exactly where they go.
I believe my guy, Michael Lombardi,
Okay.
former NFL executive,
Right.
VEASAN acclaim, author, does a bunch of stuff, very connected around the league. He's reiterated, as has our boy Pete Prisco over the last few weeks, that they believe the pick is Bryce Young until it isn't Bryce Young. I do think there is some truth to the Panthers moved up to evaluate, much like the 49ers did now 3 years ago, that they moved up. And maybe they had the intention of drafting Mac Jones, and then after further research and further evaluation, moved to Trey Lance. Perhaps that's what's happening in Carolina right now, but I'm pretty sure if you're going to move up to number one, you're either taking Bryce Young, who reportedly as well, the Houston Texans really are only interested in Bryce Young because they really, as much as top 30 visits don't mean anything, quote unquote, they really haven't met with any of the other quarterbacks. The only one they've really met with is Bryce Young. And that's why I heard smoke as early as 3 months ago that the Texans weren't going to take a quarterback in this year's class. And they were going to ride with Davis Mills, hope they got Jimmy Garoppolo, and figure it out from there. I know.
I the Davis
I just
Mills
heard
train.
JJ go, oh.
I find that very hard to believe
I
that's
was
going to
telling
happen.
you, I was told this in February. I didn't believe it either. But I'm
I
just,
don't believe it right now.
I'm just telling you, I don't believe it either. But guess
Who
what?
told you that?
I can't reveal my sources,
Oh.
JJ.
Davis Mills.
Yes, yes. They're going with me. Trust
Davis
me.
Mills' mom.
They told me that.
She's very active on social media.
Is she?
Yeah, and you know me. I'm
She
on the,
did not
I'm on,
use those words. Ride Davis Mills, however.
I'm on the mom beat, as everyone knows. So that's where it gets interesting to me. If you're the Carolina Panthers, though, you are only trading up to one if you're selecting Bryce Young or if you're selecting Anthony Richardson, the boomer bust pick. And
What's wrong with C.J. Stroud?
See, and that's what's
Just a
funny
guy.
is everything I've heard is CJ Stroud. And this is like multiple reports of when the Bears were having conversations with Carolina. They were coming out of the whatever was happening during that time. I'm trying to remember what week it even happened, like Combine week around that time, and they loved Stroud. That was like all Bears fans were hearing, and obviously this is all just mumblings of whatever. And then I also did a podcast with Mike Kay, and he obviously covers the Panthers now, and we were talking about, the trade and DJ
He made
Moore
it in the hunt,
and
by the
Deontay
way.
Foreman.
He made it in the
was
video of the hunt at the
And
Combine.
so he said, too, because I was like, I'm hearing a lot of rumblings of Stroud. Is that what you're hearing? And he's like, honestly, they're not giving us much, but it has been leaning that way. So it's interesting.
'cause I've heard the Panthers like Stroud.
They like his playing style more than Bryce. He said they love Bryce's physical ability, but they just don't know if they trust the
size.
Yeah.
Or the lack of size.
Yeah.
I've also read I think in Peter King's Football Morning in America, he said that Frank Reich doesn't love small quarterbacks, but other people in the Panthers organization do
Same.
love Bryce Young, and so at this point, they are putting everything out so that we are all guessing, because that's exactly what they want. But either way, whether it's Stroud 1 or Bryce Young 1, and then I think
Houston
it's going to be a
gets the
flip-flop.
other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would assume that Houston picks a quarterback at 2, although you've seen some mock drafts where Houston skips the quarterback at 2, but then takes a quarterback at 12, their second pick in the first round.
Pulls a true draft day situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which at that point, I mean, which quarterback is still on the board? It could still be that Levis and Richardson and Hendon Hooker are still on the board at that point. It could be that none of them, although I think Hooker will still be on the board because he had the torn ACL.
Yeah.
But that part of it, and the Anthony Richardson being so polarizing part of it, but I think Will Levis is somewhat polarizing as well. It's all so fascinating because we don't have to be emotionally invested in it.
Yeah.
That's why it's
We can
fascinating.
just enjoy it from the outside.
Right. When people were trying to say, like, the Jags should take Zach Wilson over Trevor Lawrence, that was emotionally awful for us.
I literally was so Chris Sims, if you saw, also posted his tiers of edge rushers. Did you see that? And he has Will Anderson in his tier 3 below, like all of
Briscoe
them.
doesn't love Will Anderson either, which is interesting.
So odd to me.
Yeah.
So weird, especially the way that he has it. I'll have to try to look for it because I was like, what is he? I honestly, I know he does things for attention sometimes
Zach
because they're
Wilson.
so wild.
He had Blake Bortles as
But
like
yes,
the 70th best quarterback in all of the NFL.
Yes, and that's what he went.
He was at least 40th, Chris.
So he has Tyree Wilson in tier 1, and then in tier 2 he has Lucas Van Ness, Nolan Smith, and Will McDonald, and then in tier 3 he has Will Anderson. So just so weird to me. But also that as I saw that graphic, it made me flash back to when Chris Sims was talking about the 2021 quarterbacks, and he did. I think he had Zach Wilson 1. He had, I think it was like Zach, then Trevor, or no, I think it was Zach, then Kellen Mond, or however you say his name,
Yeah, that's how you
and
say
then Trevor, and then Fields, and then Lance, I think is what he had. It was the weirdest thing ever, and I was like, "You're doing this just to get attention
doing
right now?"
this for
'Cause
clicks.
There's no way.
Yeah, clicks
There's
is
no way
exactly
you
right.
logically think that.
Yeah, it'll be
Calamont.
Kellen
Yeah.
Mond,
What's he up
everybody.
to?
I don't know.
That is
I think
very
he's
good
a backup
question.
in Minnesota.
He's the former Texas A&M quarterback.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Yeah,
I
who-
just forgot he was even in the league. I don't know
He
if
is
he is
now
in the
a
league.
quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
Oh,
so
the
he's up
Browns.
there hanging out with Deshaun Watson.
That sounds not fun.
Yeah, does not sound like a good idea. Stay away from him. But all right, when it comes to Major League Baseball, Taylor, how are things going for your Chicago Cubs?
They're good. They're fun. I was telling Frank when we were doing our handoff that it's the most fun I've had watching the Cubs in a long time, just because they're actually hitting the baseball. And the last couple years, I feel like it's been like solo shot after solo shot, and that's just exhausting because the games we'd win, it'd be 1-0, 2-0. They're actually scoring runs, and it's fun. And all the guys that they actually went into the offseason and picked up are playing well. Eric Hosmer's playing well. Bellinger started rough, but has been playing better. Dansby's just been playing out of his mind lately. Every single game, it's like Swanson. Last
Does
night
that
he
hurt,
made-
JJ?
No, not
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
I've texted him
our
a few times. He's like, I don't miss
shortstop's
him.
playing better than
Okay,
him.
good.
But yeah, so he's just playing out of his mind. Like at the plate, defensively, everything, he makes incredible plays. But everything that the Cubs did, which was a lot of weird, and I was talking to JJ about this. He's like, "You guys have the most random roster ever."
I like
Because it's just like a bunch of guys from other teams that they just threw into a pile,
That
and they're
were
like, "I
decent,
hope it
like
works."
maybe 4 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Like they all had like one good season.
Yeah, and
But
then
it's fun.
It's
It's,
clicking. They're like, I don't know, it's going well. And then there's obviously a few of the guys that the Cubs already have, in Nico Horner, and Patrick Wisdom and Ian Happ. Those guys were ones that were already on the Cubs that were kind of keeping up the momentum from the last couple seasons they've had. So it's been fun. It's obviously not a Rays type of season that they're having, but I don't think the Cubs were expecting that either. We went into the season just being like, be competitive and like
Win 70 games, 75 games.
Win 80, and I'd be like, okay.
JJ, how about the Braves season?
The Braves season started out real hot. This weekend it got really bad, just because they got three game losing streak always sucks.
It does.
But last night, a spectacular game. They were up. They gave the lead away in the 9th. They gave the other team took the lead in the 10th. The Reds. Then the Braves hit a walk-off 2-run home run. So it was fun. They're up like a game, I think, against the Mets very early. But, yeah, so far so good for the Atlanta Braves.
Excellent. Mia, the Yankees?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's tough.
Are you on the curse of not watching currently?
I actually am just kind of been bouncing around. Just like whenever there's baseball on, I'll turn it on.
Okay.
Since this past weekend was locked in on the golf, of course, with the Masters. And then also, how about that national championship in men's hockey? Quinnipiac comes back to win it. That was awesome. So I was watching a lot of that. But, yeah, I mean, casual watching the Yankees. They've had a lot of day games, and obviously it's a little bit difficult when you're on the air. Although I guess I could watch it on my computer as well. But, no, Aaron Judge didn't hit his first home run until a couple games into the season, which is a little surprising for some.
But they're stealing bases a lot.
Yeah, they are.
I thought Aaron Judge hit a home run on opening day.
Oh, he did on opening day, but then he hit another one.
He had a lull.
Yeah, he had a lull because
yeah, first at bat of the season.
I feel like this is a safe space, JJ. I could say this. Poor Mike Dempsey had a plan for a tweet of all rise, he is risen on Easter Sunday when Aaron Judge hit a homer, but he didn't want to offend the masses.
Oh my gosh! You would have probably been fine.
Yes.
Oh, the masses! I like that, Taylor.
Yeah, but bang. No, Gleyber Torres though off to a good start.
That's a great tweet, Mike.
Yeah, I know he should have sent it. Gleyber Torres is off to a good start, which is
I think he would have been roasted.
Great to see because obviously, I think the Yankees are going to need more than Aaron Judge and certainly more than Giancarlo Stanton for them to be successful this year, especially with the Rays playing the way they are. But the pitching's been the most pleasant surprise for me. Garrett Cole is reliable. They have been a little banged up. A couple of the guys are on the IL right now already. But no, I mean, it's the Yankees. They'll find a way. I don't worry too much about it.
They'll find a way to eventually not win the World Series.
Right, but they'll make the playoffs.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they'll give us this false hope that they'll be able to pull it together.
Yeah, I think they'll still win the division. I mean, it seems silly to say that considering the team has not lost.
Let's
But,
up 2-0
the season's
currently.
very, very long.
It is.
Like with
up 2-0 over the Red Sox. I'll have you know.
But I'll be cheering for the Rays. That's for damn
and
sure.
I appreciate the Rays and what they're able to do despite being a small market club. But you also can't deny outside of a 1-0 win over the Red Sox last night. I mean, you've beaten the A's, the Nationals, and the Tigers. And while the run differential is historic, those are probably the three worst teams in baseball right now.
They're up there, but it's
They've got
still
the Blue
baseball.
Jays after the Red Sox.
It's still baseball, and those bad teams beat good teams every day. If you look at the rest of the standings, everyone's just around 500. That's
the nature of
the
early weeks.
There's a lot
hard
of 4
to win
5
10
wins
in
right
a
now.
row, especially to start the season.
I think the longest ever is 13 in a row.
Yeah.
So that's what they're chasing currently. One of the pitchers for the Rays, Zach Eflin, who they paid a lot of money to, had to go on IL, and they backdated it to April 8th, so he'll be eligible April 23rd. But then they called up Taj Bradley, the top prospect. So that should at least be interesting.
The
and
Rays
by the way,
just always have these guys.
always
Right, but
Call
that's
up
really good
another
farm
after
system.
another
Yeah.
constantly.
But
Really
that's
good farm
also the
system.
problem is that they draft so well. They seem to always find these diamonds in the rough, and that's why they develop these stars. And then when their payday comes and they don't want to pay it, they let them go. And that's where I just wonder, in terms of sustainability, can you continue to operate like that?
Well, and you saw because last year there was a point, I don't know if it ended this way, but there was a point in the season where every level, single, double, triple, and the Rays were in first place in their respective divisions because it was just like that. And we just saw the Bulls last week. They
We did, the
started,
Durham Bulls,
the first
won
3
3 in a
games
row.
was just like
Then I
insane.
went, Brad and I went with our friends. They
Flipped
took their son to his first ever baseball game, age 3. You would have loved it, Taylor, during the national anthem. He had his hand over his heart. He loved the game, and the Jumbo Shrimp beat the Bulls, and so it's
Love it.
I don't know if it's coincidence that we went and then they
And
started.
then they won
winning.
again on
They
Sunday.
did, yeah. So they lost the series, but at least they were able to get the
There's
first.
no
home win of the season.
coincidences, Lauren.
Which, real quick, because
So
I know
you're
we have
welcome, Jumbo Shrimp.
yes, real quick, because it was funny last night. So the Cubs game, it was flying by. Like, it was the 6th inning, and I think it was on for like 30 minutes. It was so fast. And so the Obvious Shirts, which is like the shirt company in Chicago that like it makes all their kind of
Right.
like funny things, but they were like, immediately we're releasing this shirt, and it just said make baseball games longer. And I was like, yes.
Did you hear what the Brewers? I know you hate the
Yes,
Brewers,
I
but they're doing
heard.
something that Taylor would enjoy.
Yes,
What is
they are
that?
extending beers or alcohol sales.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
exactly.
because the games are going so fast.
So now it goes into the 8th instead of the 7th inning.
That's what I'm talking about.
Have you guys been?
But I always loved that whole like is that their way of getting out of like lawsuits, I guess, because they're like, hey, we gave you 3 innings to sober up.
Yeah.
Now you're good to drive home.
They're like, well, I had 16 beers though.
Have any of the 3 of you been to Miller Park?
I have
No.
not. I really want to go.
It is probably the most beer-friendly
I would
stadium
hope.
of any kind. That
Mm-hmm.
I know the name would suggest it. No, JJ. I mean, granted, I haven't been since 2017, but we're talking like $6 beers.
Oh, like price-wise.
Price-wise,
I love that.
like the Masters.
Correct. Moreover, what I really love is at least, pre-COVID, they had a deal with about 16 Milwaukee area restaurants and bars, and they would get charter little, buses, limo buses to come
from
pick
the
you up.
bar.
As long as you bought a drink or a menu item from the bar that was a partner of Miller Park, you would then get a free ride to and from the stadium.
I like
Oh
that.
heck yeah! As long
So-
as there's a bathroom on the bus, I am.
Oh
there
my
was.
God!
And there was.
I'm with you on that. Holy crap!
Right, but then
Like when people talk about that thing where you ride the
Yes.
bikes all around the city and you're
Yeah.
drinking, I'm like, I'm out. I'm out on that. My body, it's just I can't do that.
But the thing is, too, is like if you live in the neighborhood and you don't want to drive to Miller Park, even though Milwaukee's like not a massive city, you can walk
Free
to
transportation.
walk to the bar or restaurant in your neighborhood, and then you hop a ride from there.
Drink
I
till the
love
8th
it.
inning.
It also is one of
Yeah.
the few baseball stadiums where tailgating is truly encouraged because it is set up like a football stadium. So
Well, and
there's
that's where the Jumbo
parking
Shrimp, obviously being
lot
out
forever.
right outside of TIA Bank
Mhm.
Field, there's certainly a lot of tailgating that happens there, and it's awesome. By the way, quick last baseball update before we go to break. FSU is up 3-0 on Florida. So
no.
yeah, in the middle of the 6th, FSU.
Are they still
certainly
on that
looking better.
losing streak?
They beat Clemson
Okay.
on Thursday night of last week. That was their first victory after 10 losses. Then they lost the next 2 to Clemson. So this would certainly be a huge victory for FSU. And like I said, it is FSU 3, Florida nothing. But that game is over on 10 a.m. if you want to listen.
Florida just scored.
Oh, okay.
There you go, right on cue. I actually have a fun golf update as well. Since we were talking about our Masters picks, and one of mine was Cam Young, who obviously Paul Tesori, Ponte Vedra resident,
Right.
is now on the bag for. He previously was on the bag with Webb Simpson. Harbortown this weekend, RBC Heritage up in Hilton Head. Guess who's playing together? Cam Young, Webb Simpson, and Scotty Scheffler.
A great field this week. This
Great
is one of those like events that they just dumped a bunch of money in, and they're like, all right, this is important now, guys. And so like now everybody, because you would think the week after the Masters, a lot of these
Right.
guys are like, I'm not going to play immediately, but they are. So I'm excited about
Everyone
this
except
weekend.
Rory. All right, moving along. We have a lot more to do. You listen to Helmets and Heels, driven by Tire Outlet on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Huddle up. Who are we? 1010XL. What do we do? Sports Radio. Where do we do it?
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Care you can see.
At Andy's Automotive and Truck Services, they know that your company's fleet is more than just a bunch of cars and trucks. It's your livelihood, your reputation, your pride. So when you need routine fleet maintenance or emergency repairs, Andy's offers after-hours and mobile service to minimize your downtime and keep your fleet running like new. While you care for your employees and customers, rest assured Andy's Automotive will take care of your fleet. Visit the team at andysats.com.
If you're hosting a party or an event, you're going to need local singer-keyboardist Kenny B. Kenny B plays the music you want to hear, from Jimmy Buffett to the Beatles, Motown to country. Kenny B is currently playing at Ponte Vedra Inn Surf Club, Jack's Golf, Gate River Club, San Jose Country Club, and the Greater Guggen Open at Hidden Hills, just to name a few. Contact Kenny B at kennybmusic.live. That's right, .live. And ask about $100 off your next event.
Bridging the gap between the First Coast and the swamp.
Gators.
I'm Taylor Dahl. Join me for the Gator Report on 1010XL as I break down the latest storylines in Gator Nation.
Brought to you by Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts on 1010XL.
It's the home opener for the Jacksonville Sharks this Saturday, April 15th at 7 o'clock at the VyStar Arena. Cheer the Sharks to victory over the San Antonio Gunslingers.
Hey, it's Sharks head coach Jason Gibson, and this week join us as we take on the San Antonio Gunslingers. The Gunslingers will bring in a high-powered attack, but teams will find out fast how hard it is to play in the Shark Tank.
It's family affordable fun with tickets as low as $15. Call 621-0700 or go to jacksharks.com. Fins up.
Mark Watson for Hardball Creative, letting you know that Hardball has cooler promotions, but some people call them ice chests. Either way, check out the items you can put your company logo on at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows in $2.95.
Because injuries to muscles and ligaments don't show up on an x-ray, the insurance companies will use it as an excuse not to pay. But we work with doctors who can see what x-rays can't, giving you a case insurance companies can't ignore. Farah and Farah, here for you, here for good. Jackson.
Are you looking for increased privacy and protection for your family and pets? Look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Superior Fence and Rail is Jacksonville's top-rated fence company, delivering the highest quality fence products. They'll treat your property as if it's their own. So get off the fence and get your privacy back. Call Superior Fence and Rail today for your on-site estimates.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. Obviously, the summer temperatures are already here, and if you're like me, you want that oppressive Florida heat to stay outside the house. That's why I'm such a fan of Pella Windows and Doors. By now, we know that windows are the #1 way that heat gets in and the cold gets out. So when you're ready for the stylish design and energy efficiency that comes from Pella Windows and Doors, we invite you to visit their showroom on Phillips Highway next to Tesla, or find them online at PellaJacks.com.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Monahan Jewelers is your local family jeweler for 44 years with a huge selection of GIA-certified diamonds, gold, fine gemstone, and diamond jewelry and designer brands from all over the world. With our interest-free financing, we make it easy to acquire the perfect gift. Monahan Jewelers also specializes in custom jewelry design with thousands of customers all across Jacksonville. Come experience our beautiful selection of fine jewelry at your local family jeweler, Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Go to the green every Saturday morning.
Happy learned how to putt.
And get golf tips and talk to help make your golf game more fun on the Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL.
Hey folks, you ever search why Shark Coatings is the best? Well, one of the many reasons is our polyurea. We don't just buy it from anyone who has it in stock. We custom blend ours, specializing between summer and winter blend, providing you with the best product for our area. After grinding the concrete, that polyurea will form a permanent bond at the molecular level and will not pull away like epoxy. With Shark Coatings, not only will your garage look awesome, but your pool deck, patio, or driveway will too. See how Shark Coatings can make a difference for you. Call, click, or text today.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Sunday morning, man, she woke up fighting mad.
These heels are made for talking.
Helmets and heels.
Driven by Tire Outlet.
Brought to you by Underwood Jewelers.
On 1010XL.
For all the people watching on our restream. This is when they get to see my lip syncing.
I love it.
Because Luke Combs, how can you not love When It Rains It Pours? Great
love
job,
this one.
JJ. It always helps JJ, by the way, when we talk about songs that we were gonna pick,
Yeah,
and then we
he
didn't,
always
and then he's like, "Oh, right."
Yeah, there's a million, honestly, that I
That's
had
very
in
true.
mind. But I've never heard this song before.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh, it's so great. Basically, she breaks up with him, and then he's the happiest he's ever been.
I think I
Been
have.
there.
I've heard like the chorus, but I never really listened to it.
Right. You'd think When It Rains, It Pours, it would be a song, especially because it's like a breakup song. You would think that it would
bad.
be, sad. But no, he's like, look, the Hooters waitress left me her
He
number.
won the lottery. He got
Yeah.
the girl's number.
Yeah, he won a fishing trip. Yeah, all these things. So it's a great song. When I got to see him for free when he was like first coming on at the Seahawk Pavilion, he played this song, and I think I was the only person in the entire crowd who knew it because I had already listened to the
I love
when
when a nice fat boy gets famous.
Oh yeah,
and becomes
yeah,
like a sex symbol.
and his wife is very attractive.
Well, duh.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely. And they're having
I-
another baby already. That's what's crazy.
this song's 5 years old already.
I know, it's
That's
amazing.
what's wild. Absolutely wild.
Time flies too fast.
Yes.
All right. So, Mia, you are hosting a bachelorette party this weekend.
I am. Yeah.
Oh, Luke Combs will be played.
Yes, it will. Needless to say, especially because the bride is in a band and is very
Oh,
musically
that's cool.
inclined and
Okay.
loves live music, and so when she was trying to decide where to have her bachelorette party,
right?
I said to her, as much as she was stressing about trying to keep costs down, and since she's from Iowa, most of the bridesmaids are from the Midwest, and she wanted to keep it easy. She finally ran into the issue of she wanted to go somewhere warm, and scheduling wasn't working out, so she said, screw it, I'm going to go visit Mia, and whoever else wants to come, we can turn it into a bachelorette. And so that's what we're doing, and St. Augustine obviously has a lot of live music.
I've done bachelorettes in St. Augustine. It's perfect.
Yep, and
'Cause you can walk to everything. It's fantastic.
and she's looking for something a little chiller, and so that's where I think,
Like, relax.
yes.
Okay. So, the first place I will suggest is a place called the No Name Bar.
Yep.
And it's indoor, outdoor, and they have live music there.
Mhm.
And then also Tradewinds, they always have live music there. That's a place that certainly picks up, so it's maybe not as relaxed as the No Name Bar because it'll get crowded and fun. But those are the top two that I would suggest for live music down there.
And any other suggestions for bachelorette? We do
There's no chill places, I'll tell you that.
no chill.
No. St. Augustine, you'll have no chill.
Well, that's
that
okay.
city
She
is just
says
like so packed now.
Well,
always.
by chill I mean we're also gonna lay on the beach for a day.
That's very chill.
So that's still more chill than like.
I thought you meant like a bar.
No.
Like, it's gonna be
I meant
tough.
like compared to going to Vegas, like you're doing for your
Oh,
bachelor
yes.
party.
Very different.
Yes. You can do a ghost tour, which we talked about, but she is not
Love a
totally
ghost
sure
tour.
she'd be able to handle
She's
it.
afraid she would pay for it and then
be too scared
she would
to
get
finish.
scared.
They're for
But they're
kids.
That's what I tried telling her.
There's children there.
I tried telling her as much, but alas.
They're fun, though.
Yeah. They're good.
Touristy, but fun.
Yeah. Also, Teeny Martini Bar. I don't
yeah,
think
that
they
was-
usually
Yep.
have live music, but that's a super fun place
I
to go.
love it.
Prohibition Kitchen.
Yep, they
has
have live
live
music,
music,
which I
and
actually-
food is delicious and drinks are delicious.
Yep.
They also have the little courtyard area there.
Mhm.
Yep.
It has a name, but I can't think of what it's called. There's always live music, especially the weekends. There's live music there, and that may be a little more chill because there's just kind of like picnic benches out there, and you can kind of walk around and listen to music, and it's not like you're sitting in like a crowded bar area.
Which I actually took her and her then fiance, or I guess boyfriend at the time, now soon to be
I
husband.
was going to say still fiance.
When they visited, yeah, exactly. When they visited, I actually took them for dinner, but it was a Monday night, so
Mm-hmm.
there really wasn't live music. So definitely Prohibition Kitchen, and we appreciate the text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. Some of the suggestions, which Prohibition Kitchen was just suggested by 2035.
I like
So-
that place, but it's very dark.
Yeah, the lighting's less than ideal. The food
Well,
is
it's
amazing.
Prohibition,
though.
Yeah,
like vibe.
it's supposed to be like
Yeah.
on the low.
Like don't look at me while I'm drinking.
Yes, exactly. But
we
great
definitely
drinks
went there.
I
We
mean,
definitely went there when we did my friend's bachelorette in St. Augustine. One place that is not necessarily a bachelorette thing, but I highly, highly, highly recommend. I've only been there once before. It's called the Drunken Horse, and it's right along the main street. But it's got this adorable courtyard outside, and they've got great tapas and drinks and
I
all
don't
that
think
stuff.
I
And
went
it's literally like right off the beaten path, but I had never heard of it, never been. My girlfriend was like, they have the best ratatouille. And I was like, wait, what are you saying? Like, you are selecting this place because the ratatouille, what? Like, but it literally was, I will give it a, like, if the score is out of 100, I would give it 100. Like the
Is it-
service was awesome. The courtyard area is beautiful. It was perfect.
Is it kind of near No Name, like on a little path?
It's
a
it's
little
very
past
close
that.
to there.
Okay.
Yep, yeah. And
I know what you're talking about.
The food was so good. Like I said, the service was great. And again, walkability for stuff like that is important.
Nice.
Now, how many girls, like, are you going to have to do the number system where it's like everybody gets a
So-
number?
No, not at
to
all.
keep
So the
track?
first, the
Okay.
first night it's going to be
What?
somewhere between 4 to 5.
Hold on. What is that?
Okay, so if
Like
you have
a buddy system?
Yes, if you have a big group, everybody gets a number. So for instance, like Taylor's 1, Mia's 2, I'm 3, JJ, you're 4. Well, if you move from bar to bar, then you're like, okay, numbers start with number 1. So Taylor's like
my
1, and you have to get
God.
Make
every
sure
number.
your whole group's there.
Yes.
Make sure one of them's not in the bushes somewhere.
Or in the
Jesus.
bathroom. Don't leave anybody in the bathroom. So yeah, sorry. How
You
many?
just pin 'em to their chest.
The first night it's going to be somewhere between 4 to 5 girls. So
Okay,
nice
that's
and chill the first night.
reasonable.
The second night, because I'm going to have some of my gal pals also joining us, it'll be closer to 10.
Okay.
So
That's where you might need the number system.
okay.
Yeah, I'm supposed
And-
to have 14 going to Vegas, by the way.
Oof, for
We don't
yours?
know. Yeah, I don't
Where
know
was
if
our
it'll
invite,
end up
JJ?
being. Yeah, you guys should come. I don't know if it'll end up being that. When the time comes
That's
for
a
the
lot,
money and
yeah,
everything. But
that's a lot of people.
yeah,
And,
as of right now, there's 14 yeses.
And
Wow.
Yes,
They
I
love
did
you.
like 5472 with the San Sebastian Winery suggestion
yes.
that is already on the itinerary. I
Yeah,
appreciate
and
that one.
I've been on a bachelorette party one time. We went to Savannah, and there were like 20 of us, and we ended up breaking off into little groups.
Yeah.
So it depends on whether the bride likes that, cares if everyone's together or not. Some brides are like, I don't care, go do your thing. And other brides are like, I want everyone together the whole entire time because it's all about me. So it depends on the type of personality that you have.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I
It'll
think
be fun though.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually really excited for like a staycation.
Oh yeah.
Because I've never like really done that before.
That's the thing about any vacation when you're staying at an Airbnb. Before you even start the vacation, go to the liquor store, buy a couple bottles for y'all at the house.
Oh no, we are
like
tomorrow.
That,
No, we are tomorrow.
And food,
I'm
like
going tomorrow to buy
have
it.
a home base. You don't want to like spend all your money at the bars because it is expensive.
Oh yeah.
Wherever
It adds
you
up
are.
super fast, especially
Absolutely.
when you're with a group like that because you're like, okay, I'm going to buy shots. And the next thing you know, you're buying shots for like 10, 11 people.
And a shot's like $6.
Yeah. And granted, usually it's
and then everyone's like, I'll
reciprocated.
Venmo you, and then they don't.
Never do.
And you're not going to the next day be like, I'm going to
Hey, I
request
need
money from you.
$13.40
Right,
from you.
exactly.
Like, just start requesting.
Yeah, I request.
That is a very passive aggressive way.
I mean, if they don't pay, no, but yeah, I agree. And honestly, looking back, like over the years, whether I was in college or fresh out of college, like I think the most fun I ever had was actually pre-gaming to go out. Like going out is fun and all, but usually it was the pre-gaming with your closest friends with music on and all that stuff, and like
Yes.
making the drinks at the house that ended up being more fun than the
And
actual
then you
night
might
out.
not even go out.
Right, and you then usually also again way younger than I am now, but like then the next morning you're like, where did we go? Do I have my credit card? I'm not sure that I had that much fun. And they're like, no, you had a great time. Like, why don't I remember it? Oh yeah, because we took the shots at the house before we even left. All right, we've got one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels, driven by Tire Outlet on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Feel the thrill of live NASCAR play-by-play.
He's got him. Oh, there we go.
This Sunday at Martinsville, brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 from Jacksonville's NASCAR station, 1010XL.
Honda has done it again with their all-new exciting SUV and truck lineup for 2023. HRV, Pilot, Passport, Ridgeline trucks, and our popular CRV Hybrid. This is without a doubt Honda's most impressive lineup. Visit your local Honda dealer today. We're dealing.
Honey, are you using the hot water?
No.
The water's cold again. How can we fix it? Did you just quack like a duck?
Yep, Duck Rooter, your plumbing pros in Northeast Florida. For water heater installation and service, including tankless water heaters, gas or electric, call for a quote today.
When you're stuck, call the duck.
904-862-6769. Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
He's got 55 reasons to listen to Jaguars Today every Friday.
It's always been us versus them.
Tom McManus.
I want that played at my funeral.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. A better way to a better window on 1010XL.
Allentown Mortgage gives you both a fast online application process and an expert mortgage advisor to get you the best mortgage at the most competitive rate in the nation. You can be a number at a big box bank and spend weeks filling out paperwork or call Allentown Mortgage. Eric summed it up in his 5-star Google review. Allentown knows the mortgage industry. When the big boxes say no, they say yes. The whole process went very smoothly. Get the mortgage experience you want. Go to allentownmortgage.com. That's allentownmortgage.com. NMLS number 103917, 4810 Executive Park, Jacksonville.
Calling all Buffalo Bills, Annie Oakley's sharpshooters, and amateur marksmen. Join some fun folks for an afternoon of competitive clay shooting to benefit Operation New Uniform, providing transformative training and career services to empower veterans and military spouses to successfully transition from military service to a meaningful career. Friday, April 28th at Clay Target Sports on a state-of-the-art 15-station sporting clay course. Register at onvet.org.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito is back at Taco Bell. And in case you didn't know, it's stacked. Yeah, packed inside it is a double serving of premium grilled marinated steak and a melty 3-cheese layer. Then on top of that, it has a layer of grilled bubbly cheese on the outside. Yeah, the outside. Why? Probably because it refuses to be caged in by the confines of its tortilla walls. Or maybe just to add more cheesy flavor.
Double steak grilled cheese burrito. Get one today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only while supplies last. Double steak claim is compared to steak quesadilla. Contact store for hours and participation which vary.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
The 5-Star Veterans Center of Jacksonville is the place homeless veterans can go to recover, recharge, retrain, and reconnect. Learn more at 5starveteranscenter.org.
Her Song is a nonprofit organization that breaks the cycle of human trafficking through survivor care, victim outreach, and education. Find out how you can help at hersong.org.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Head and neck cancers are quite common, but often go undetected until later stages. If you have lumps or bumps in your mouth or sores in your throat or difficulty swallowing, get screened for head and neck cancer with AckermanCancerCenter.com.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-7473. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Stilettos and sabermetrics.
Helmets and heels. Driven by Tire Outlet. Brought to you by Underwood Jewelers.
On 1010XL.
Rainy Day Songs has been our theme here on Helmets and Heels, driven by Tire Outlet. Me, O'Brien, Taylor Dahl. I'm Lauren Brooks. JJ LaSelva spinning the hits. I love how JJ, right before we came back, told us this is Fool in the Rain by Led Zeppelin. JJ, I can tell you this song I'll know. I will never know Hillary Duff.
Okay, good.
I got Zeppelin. I got anything pretty much from the 70s, 60s, 70s. And then I'm not as good with the 80s because I don't love 80s music. 90s I can pretty much do. But anything like 2000s and beyond, unless it's country, I have absolutely no idea.
You know, there's a classic rock station back home, and I was back home for Easter this weekend.
Oh,
and
Callum.
they've changed there. It's no longer classic rock.
Oh no!
Because because they play like, they'll throw a Red Hot Chili Peppers in there or like a Green Day song.
Sure.
Because by this point, it's like
It's
almost
classic.
30 years old.
Right.
So they call it iconic rock.
Well, that's good. I like that. But I was wondering because when you think about it, like when we were growing up, JJ and I
the
and
three
Mia,
of you. Way
and
to
then in the
exclude me,
90s,
Taylor.
30 years before that, obviously in the 70s, that was what was considered classic rock at that time, like late 60s,
And it's still
70s,
classic rock,
Yeah,
60
so they were
years
like,
ago.
we can't just rename that.
Yeah, so
I like
classic
it.
rock is
Iconic
still
rock.
just 60s and 70s,
Okay.
and it'll always be that. Yes.
I like it.
I think, I mean, you'd think if it would just be rock. Like, we play rock, and that's what, if you're going to
That's
play.
too simple.
Yeah, that's
I guess so.
yeah, that's too vague.
And it kind of just sounds dumb. This is
We
rock.
play
rock.
Play rock and roll.
That's right.
Hope you're ready.
All right, JJ, you are, I think, the biggest NBA fan of the four of us, followed by Mia and then by Taylor. Is that right? I'm
Probably.
certainly last. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got NBA play-in games. One is going on right now. How much attention will you pay to the play-in games? By the way, the Hawks lead the Heat.
I
15-9.
only care about one. I only care about the one at 10
Lakers.
o'clock. Because, the Lakers, because they could potentially do something, in the playoffs. If they win, they play Memphis, and that's a good series. Like, Memphis had a great regular season.
But they're vulnerable.
Absolutely.
They're young as heck. They haven't been in this position before. The Lakers are old.
They've won
as
a
has
title.
been documented
Yeah.
a time or two before on this radio station. And moreover, I mean, I know the Ja Morant case has kind of been resolved, but like, correct me if I'm wrong, JJ. I mean,
He's been playing, he's back.
He's back, but I mean, like in terms of future antics, like does that,
I have no idea.
I mean, I think that's the like, is he,
I
can't
think
predict
a lot,
his
I think
future
a lot of
insight.
that
Yeah.
was just like, hey, we're gonna go on a media tour and apology tour and everything. I don't think he was in like rehab or away on some island secluded from
There's been a
everyone
couple
without his
of
phone for
couple
like a month.
transgressions, like a couple
Oh
instances.
yeah,
That's-
absolutely.
yeah.
I think he probably does have some sort of like issue with fame right now, but I don't think it ever was affecting his on-court stuff.
I don't either. And I think that maybe him not playing was more significant than it being a distraction for the team.
Yeah,
Just
that was
in
weird.
terms of
The
on-field
whole
chemistry.
thing was very weird.
Yeah.
And I think that he was probably told, put the guns away, bro. Not
Stop
a
having
great
a 12-person posse.
Yeah,
Tell your
exactly.
posse to put the guns away,
You're gonna
too.
get in trouble. Like you're eventually you're a superstar in this league. You have zero reason to become like the Allen Iverson and kind of go down the bad path and hurt your career like that.
Right. And, no, I agree. I think the Lakers can do something. Who steps up with no Rudy Gobert tonight?
Well, yeah, he's sort of like
Is Luka Garza going to play significant minutes?
Well, they already have Cat.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
know.
thing. He's sort of like a power forward / center anyway.
Right.
But I think they would probably
Because now
lose
Nas
even with
Reed's
Gobert
hurt.
in there.
Nas Reed's out.
But here's the thing: if the Lakers lose, they get a chance to play again.
Right.
The winner versus the other Western Conference playing game, and then they could be the 8th
Oh, I didn't
seed.
know that.
Yeah.
I do love Anthony Edwards, though. I would like to see more.
Absolutely.
I remember like last year's play-in game, just being like, man, I really want more. I really want more Anthony.
Yeah,
Edwards.
in that game where Rudy Gobert hit his teammate, slow-mo Kyle Anderson, they won. They actually won that game. There was another player that punched a wall and broke his hand, so they're not just out Gobert, they're out another player. But, yeah, they won the game where they were all fighting.
So, Taylor, your Bulls play tomorrow night at 7 o'clock against the Raptors. Will that be, like, lock in, or will you be watching baseball?
I'll be watching that for
Okay.
sure. I'm super nervous because I went through probably like November, December. I was getting super into it, and I was watching a lot of Bulls games, and they like went on this losing streak, and it was really bad. And then I stopped watching, and then they started playing really well and beating like they're a weird team because they like play up to teams, but then they'll also lose to teams that are like the worst in the league. So they'll like beat the Bucks, but then lose to someone who's won no games, and I can't think of one of the worst right now. But and so it was a really weird few months where I was like, I don't really know what's going on with this team. Lonzo is having his third knee surgery, so he's not coming back at all. And so there was a lot of other kind of guys that they were counting on. But I don't know. So I'll definitely I'm torn because I'm afraid if I watch, we'll lose. But then I know I'll be interested enough to want to know what's going on and watch it.
That makes sense. Who should we be looking out for, JJ, as far as making deep runs in the NBA playoffs?
In the East, I mean, you got the Bucks and the Celtics, and
so the stars
Philly.
are Giannis and Tatum.
Yeah. Well,
then
Embiid.
Embiid.
Embiid's
Yeah,
probably the MVP of the league.
Right.
In the West, of course, you have Joker, who's won 2 years in a row.
But they've kind of stumbled to the finish line in Denver.
Yes, they definitely have.
Which
they haven't
Memphis, to an
really.
extent, did
They've
too.
sat Jokic a lot. You know, they had the 1 seed pretty much locked in. But yeah, they have not been great the last month. And it would be a surprise, I guess, if they won the NBA title, but I wouldn't be shocked if they won the West. I still, like, they are terrible on the road, especially. They didn't have a great year, but the Warriors are the Warriors.
I know.
It's hard to overlook them. But
You
right
could say
now,
the
the
same-
Suns are the number one
Right.
team in the West.
I was just going to say, you could say the same thing about the Suns.
The Suns are by far the favorite in the West.
Also, what do you make of the Kings? I mean,
Nothing.
Sacramento.
I think
nothing.
they had a good regular season. They'll probably lose in the first round.
Nice story.
Oh, great story. First time they made the playoffs since 2004, I think. They're
Right.
the longest playoff drought in professional sports at the moment, and we need to find a new one. It was the Mariners last year, and then it was the Kings, and now I don't know. It's a trivia question that I've known for years. Now I have no
Josie,
idea.
if you're listening,
moved
we,
on.
Yes.
we need to get that fun fact for XL Primetime tomorrow. ASAP. Need it. I think it's going to come down to a rematch 2021, albeit with Kevin Durant. I think it's Bucks and Suns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suns and
Can't
6,
argue
though.
with that.
Suns and 6, though.
I have to say, I never watch the NBA playoffs until we get to the finals. But for some reason, I feel like I might watch a little bit more.
It's
this year.
wide open.
Yeah, I think that's why. Because I don't. For so many years, we kind of knew going in. Certainly, we had the Cavs and the
Yes.
Warriors for a while, and what they had.
LeBron
3
made
different
9
years.
straight finals, so
Right,
you're just
yeah,
like,
you just
hey,
knew
they're
whoever-
going to
yeah.
at least get there.
Yeah, exactly. And so now that there's more parity, it's kind of like March Madness. I mean, I watch that every year, regardless. But it was more fun, I feel like, because these teams kind of came out of nowhere. Speaking of the Stanley Cup playoffs going on right now, by the way, the Tampa Bay Rays had a lead of 2-1 against Toronto. Then they took a goal away from the Rays, and then immediately Toronto scored.
A run, you mean? Or Tampa Bay Rays or Tampa Bay Lightning?
Lightning.
Oh,
Just kidding.
sorry. Yeah, that's why I was confused there.
Yeah,
So-
no, they scored a goal, so they took a goal away from the Lightning. So it was 2-1 Lightning. Then they took a goal away from the Lightning via replay, and then Toronto scored right away.
Oh my goodness. JJ, who are you talking about that's breaking the longest streak?
The Kings.
Okay. So the next is saying it's the Jets.
Oh, great.
what
I love
fun.
that. How many years is that?
11 seasons, the last time they were there. Well, this was from last year too, so I guess 12
And listen,
seasons
if Rodgers goes, that could change.
Yeah.
So
Certainly
I wonder who
could.
the next one is.
now.
all
The
of this in
Buffalo
consecutive
Sabres
years.
after that.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was JJ and I were talking about that the other night, and I don't remember what brought it up, but we were talking about New York teams, and
Yeah, you said it's been like
so the last New York team to
win a title was the Giants.
was the Giants in 2011, and that's including all 10 teams, including the Buffalo teams, Jets, Mets, Knicks, Rangers, all of them. So it's really wild to think that they have 10 professional teams, and not one of them have won a title since 2011.
That is wild. By the way, this is why people love hockey. A
They're
full-on
fighting.
fight going on between the Maple Leafs and the Lightning.
love that.
Yeah, they, of course, the NHL refs, they just stand back until they're done, and then they're like, all right, here we go. And I'm sure
One
they just
guy's
lost
helmet
some more
flew
teeth.
off, and
Yeah.
they're just
By the way, before we say goodnight, I do want to circle back to an earlier discussion topic because JJ, Adam Schefter went on NFL Live just a short while ago and said, quote, I don't think it's a lock that Houston is going quarterback at number 2.
Oh, well, I think that he's got false information as well. I mean, like, what else are they going to do? I just don't see it.
I agree
so,
with
like, who
you.
are they saving their
Will
quarterback
Levis. They
for
think they're gonna
next
get Wi-
year?
they
Oh,
think-
no, but you said that they were going to run it back with David Mills.
Davis Mills, unless they
Mills.
can get Will Levis late in the – because if they take a quarterback with 12 because they have the 12th overall pick as well from the Browns.
So
And if they can't get a quarterback there, then they'd run it back with Davis Mills, and then DeMeco Ryans would build his defensive Death Star this year.
He's going to get fired after one season.
Yes.
If
Like
they don't
everybody
take
else.
a
Like
quarterback,
his two
that would be a
predecessors.
huge
Maybe-
mistake. Because next year, who do you got? I mean,
Caleb Williams, Drake May.
But you got to hope at that point that you suck
Drake
that enough
May,
again to
I
win
don't
the
know
one.
enough about Drake May to be like, oh, he's going to be a top 5 pick next year.
All I know is he helped me lose in Loser Monday because we picked quarterbacks in the conference championships, and I picked Drake May from North
Also,
Carolina, and I
Caleb
lost.
Williams, I mean, is he like a surefire NFL prospect?
There's some people who think he's the next Mahomes, but then again, people said that about Bryce Young, and now we knock him for his height. So, NFL draft
Maybe
process
he'll
eats
get-
everybody alive.
Maybe they'll get Stetson Bennett.
I swear.
Later.
We
Stetson
did,
versus
and
Davis.
whoever we think is going to be the number 1 quarterback this time next
It's going to
year is
change.
never even
Yeah.
close to that.
We did have a couple
Except
texters.
Except Trevor,
Yeah.
yeah.
We did have a couple nooners on the text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures during prime time. Once again today, say they would rather have Stetson Bennett in the NFL than Anthony Richardson. Yeah.
I mean, I understand.
That's not the craziest thing
I don't,
I've
yeah,
ever
I don't think
heard.
that's that crazy.
I
But if
think
it-
that about Hendon. When we were talking about Hendon Hooker, I was like, I'd kind of want to take a chance over Hendon.
I want neither of
I mean, me
those. I
either.
don't want
I'm glad
Stetson
that we
or
have
AR.
Trevor Lawrence and Justin
But for
Fields.
real, if Houston had Stetson versus Davis, that would sound like a presidential
God.
campaign,
Oh my God.
not their quarterback competition. All right,
And
that's-
one from like the 1700s.
Right.
too.
That's going to do it for us. We hope everyone has enjoyed tonight's edition of Helmets and Heels, but don't go anywhere. Into the Night with Rick Ballou comes up next. For Mia Taylor and JJ, I'm Lauren Brooks. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night.